Let's take a look at the BroadSky system and actually see how diverse a single sky is. Now this is a set that I put together in 2010 for an insurance client, but let's just take this landmass and put a sky behind it, this small island, and see what we can do. First of all, I'll put the camera wide so that we can actually see a nice broad sky. Let's move it to 35, and then we don't get the interference of the foreground isle. And we can see that we're just on a square tablet of water. We never actually shoot so that we can see the actual horizon of that water as a corner. And the water softening that iClone allows is just set comfortable so that we don't have a great big cotton wool disappearance. Now then, this is quite a primitive set, so the landmass is actually something that came with iClone several years ago. Now that sky that you can see in the background, that's pretty much a standard iClone sky. We're not focused on it, we're looking at whatever the characters are doing down here, what they're saying on the boats. It's a sky, but it's not really... You're kind of limited. You can't really do anything. You can't really do anything particularly with it. So let's go back into Set, Props, Custom, and amidst this swamp, iClone skies. Let's put in a broad sky here. Let's bring it right into the front. Now, if you've got a prop, if you've got a prop and you haven't added it to the terrain, the sky won't sit on the prop landmass that you have. It'll kind of drop below it. So you'll have to right-click on your landmass and add it to the terrain. It just makes life a little bit easier when you're placing things, that's all. There's our sky, as you can see. Very high definition graphic. This one actually I think is about 7,000 by something like 3,771, something like that. Anyway, I'm going to place it just behind the island. I'm going to move that around forwards and backwards because I'm putting fog and mist in here, and the fog and mist play an important part on what that sky will look like. I want to get rid of the sky that's in the background, so let's go into our scene manager, look at the sky, and just delete that sky so that we have nothing. I want to show you the differences here. Now we'll put the sky that we've made. You can see what it's doing to the water already. We've taken the sky away that was there before, the standard iClone sphere, and the sky now is reflecting grey. Because we're shooting at the angle we are, and because the sky is so big, we've got a beautiful reflection of the sky in the water. We've got a little horizon error back here that we can worry about later, but let's just for the time being get this sky looking smart. Right, bright clear day, nice and crisp. Let's go back into our house and have a look around. The sky looks good. It's pleasant. Again, if I was shooting here and I had a character talking down here and I'm shooting right in close, the sky, I would, if I had a 10-second take, at the end of the 10-second take I would move the sky to the right there, simply so that if we're worried about the drift of the clouds, at least there's something. Right, the next phase, putting some mist and haze in here, because mist and haze is very important when it comes to controlling sky and cloud. And I'll just take the animation off camera 1. So go into the timeline, go into camera, look at camera 1, look at transform, and get rid of the previous camera points that we made there. Because I want you to see how beautiful this can look when it's done properly. Okay. Mist and fog. Stage. Atmosphere. Here's the fog. Peculiarly, when I think the previous version of iClone came out, or the very beginning of iClone 5, the end fog went to 99,999. I remember. And this gave us the means to stretch the density of the fog over a very large set and actually have superb control with the way it worked. It was a constant. It wasn't that we could compress the mist in the middle and have it thinned on the outside. It was a constant from the start point to the end. If we say feet, 5,000 feet to 11,000 feet. It was 5,000 feet to almost 100,000 feet. The density was good because it meant that the very large sets that had distant mountains in the background, you could still see them. Because this has a limitation of 22,000, I don't know why. There has to be some other reason why. Because it has a distance of 22,000, if you have a very extreme set, you lose the mountains in a great big white block. In this case, we've just got ocean because this is a $50 million island and there's nothing in the background. And that's what you get when you spend extortionate amounts of money on very expensive islands. So let's look at that sky. Let's get back down to the nitty gritty and let's bring in this to about let's bring this to 7,000, maybe 9,000. That looks good. Then as we go forwards, the mist pushes away with us and the sky is actually softened by the mist. Now you'll notice that the light is very hard at the moment, so I'm kind of working in a sort of a broad daylight atmosphere. Let's move the light here and just move those shadows around. Let's lower the sun down. There, we've got a nice evening now. Let's look at that. Looks a little bit rainy there. Let's keep the sun high. Look at what's happening down here. Bang that right up. We've got a machine that can handle it, so don't start skimping on the quality. Push the machine right to the limits until you start getting lag when you start to pan on your set. Then you know that you've got the best quality possible. Okay, that's very good. Okay, we've got the blue sky and we've put the fog in there, and the fog's the sky has disappeared. Let's go back to stage atmosphere and push the fog away. There. Okay, we're playing with the lights. So we want to make the sky visible, but we want the fog. We want the sky to be affected by the fog. We don't want to lose it just because we've clicked affect sky, otherwise we lose it. So let's push the sky back. Let's push the sky back to 15,000, the mist. There we go. Just enough to look comfortable. That's quite pleasant. Again, the beauty with this sky system is that you can move it around and find what you like in the graphic. There's a lot of potential here. We can move this up and down, and really, where do you want it to go? This is just one sky graphic. 4, 5, 6, 7, 'thin that off there. Bring this down, blow it up a little more, 8, push it away into the mist, enlarge it so that we don't get the line, just bring it in so that it's visible through the mist on the island. Already we've seen about 10 different styles that we can have just out of one sky. It's way behind the mist, bring it forwards. How far do you want to go? How deep is your mist? We've still got mist over the island. If you're shooting, no one's to know whether this is one style of sky or another. It's sky. And what you've got to worry about is, does it work for your set? Now, I'm just going to lower that down again and go into the house. The mist is flattening everything, so let's see what we can do. Let's bring in some ambient occlusion and such like. So go to stage, atmosphere. Ambient occlusion is on just a little. Those trees are just a little bit garish. Just bring them down some. I think we'll just leave the range on near full. That'll cover the whole island. Let's get down to looking at how the mist sets an atmosphere properly, in detail, on your set. Let's push this around. Let's go back to the stage. Camera, are we on 35mm? We should be. Yeah. Okay, let's go to stage, atmosphere. Set the ambient occlusion to something nice. Whoops. Much too much. Just the trees are a little bit flat and a little bit too loud like that, so I just like to tone down because I can't actually individually excuse me, I can't actually individually change the color or the luminosity, etc. of the trees. They are as they are, so it's a real godsend to have ambient occlusion in there, which just softens them down, which they've needed for quite a few versions of iClone. A little too dark. There we go. Right, that looks quite pleasant. Let's go into the timeline editor and kill the animation on the camera. So let's go camera 1, transform, get rid of that little critter there. Right. Now then, we need to control the way the mist affects the sky in the background. Now this is actually quite fun because the sky, normally when the fog affects the sky, you lose it. It just disappears. But now, because we're using a BroadSky system, we're going to find that control is much more at our fingertips. Let me use the house as my pivot center. Right. Remember, we're not in close yet. If I was filming the characters on the island, I'd be way in close. And the sky takes on a much bigger atmosphere. So let's get down as if we're filming people. Now you see what I mean. The sky has a completely different feel. If I had a 10-second take, I would, at the end of the 10-second take, move the sky a little bit to the right, so that as you were doing your take, there is a little tiny bit of cloud drift. That already looks nice. As a hot, scorching sunny day, it looks nice. But then you've got heat haze and distance haze. So let's go into stage, atmosphere, and look at the fog. Starting at 5,000 and ending at 11,000. If we just say, for instance, so that's feet. So 5,000 feet to 11,000 feet. We can stretch the mist over 22,000 feet. But it all but disappears unless we're a very long way away. You can see how big that sky map is. That's a very high definition piece of sky. Right, let's go and bring that back into about 9,000. And let's bring the 5 down to about 3.8. Too much. Let's push that back to 10. Just working out how we want the mist to look. Now, the sky is doing its job. It's a sky, and you notice that it's kind of become a little bit more real because it's sitting behind the mist. It's not quite so garish. It's not screaming at us like a postcard. So we can actually push that away and make it drop right into the mist and have nothing. Or we can bring it way forwards, just behind the island. And you'll notice the beautiful effect it actually has on the water too. Because the skies are so large, you can pan to the left and right and just find the little bit that seems to enhance your set as you like. If you've got some dark trees, a nice white piece of cloud behind them will look nice. If you've got some light trees, a nice dark piece of blue behind them might look nicer. just to set them off. Always work on that fog and mist. Now, if this was a hot midday, I wouldn't say there was quite so much mist. So let's push this back to about 12,500. Going closer to the house. There's a little bit of mist there, not a lot. And we can always check exactly how much is there and what we're looking through. Just click the fog on and off and just have a look. See how we're working. The house looks nice, so the beginning of the mist falls behind the house, and we got some sharpness there, which is pleasant. If we were in this close, we might bring it a little. It might be a little different. Let's bring that to 2,000. There we go, and it's come back again. That's nice there, but back here, don't go away, house. We need you. It's a little too much, so push it back to 3,005. You've got to be fluent with this mist system. It should be your best friend in any take because it's controlling the softness and the contrast of your scene globally. Also, if we want to push this into a bit of a blue scene, we can bring up some blue here, bring that down there, and just make the scene look a little hotter. We can also go into our light and change the ambient lighting so that we're also following a blue theme. It's cold, but it's hot. If we want to warm that up, let's bring in a hot summer yellow. Now the greens look a lot fresher. We can push that sky back behind the mist again. Right, here's our summer island. It's beautiful sunshine, and we've got a wonderful summer sky in the background. This sun I dislike intensely. I'll take that out. Actually, let's take that out now because that is annoying. And there we go. The horrible direct sun has gone. So let's close that down and get back to business.